Okay, welcome back to the channel. This is Connie with the Artisan Company. Alrighty, so today's project is a continuation of the Southwest kind of native style earrings I did last week. Okay, this is going to be the necklace I was telling you about. And I went ahead and kind of pseudo, because it's going to be 2 to 3 strands at different lengths. So I'm doing one strand at a time. So that's why this one's kind of laid out, sort of. So you can kind of see where we're going. But anyway, um, I'm so excited about this. I'm just so excited. All right. So I'm going to tell you what you need to get started and we'll get to rocking. All right. So this is what you're going to need. Here's the earring that we did last week. So, first of all, you're going to need some kind of centerpiece or not. That's a design decision, but I decided to do a centerpiece on the longest strand. So what I chose here was a bone simulated elk's tooth. You can see it's shaped the way an elk's tooth is supposed to be shaped. However, it's very clean and polished, and they don't look like this at the top and blah blah blah. So it's a simulated one. But if you'll notice, there's 2 dots right here on it. I don't know if you can see those. Those will be either a bead in there or painted. I'm not sure which I'm going to do, but I'll do that at the end when I can set it after everything's done. So these are going to be my centerpieces, 3 of these. Okay, then you'll need a 1-inch bone in white, and I'm doing mine in this color to match the earring. So 1-inch bone in white, a 3/4 inch bone in white, and a 1/2 inch bone in black. And this one has some carving on it. You don't have to do that, but hey, I thought it was pretty cool. So that's what I chose. All right, then you will need some 6.0 Rocale beads, and this is what's in this earring here, same exact ones. Okay, and then you'll need some 6mm copper and silver beads, which are these right here. And you can see I've kind of incorporated them through here, silver and copper, 6mm. Then you'll need a 10mm copper or silver or bronze, brass, whatever you're using. Then you will need the 4mm little daisy spacers that we used right here in this. So same little thing we used in the earrings. Then I've got these decorative cones right here. And they're about a 12mm across down here on the bottom. They're not very big at all. Maybe this way, they're maybe a 10mm at the most. So they're small. They're not really big because we're not going to have a whole lot going through it. All right, and then you'll need some black 8mm crow beads. You can see these because this is going to finish off the back for us. It's going to pull everything together. And then some trusty sinew here. And maybe a lighter. So anyway, so that's what you'll need for this project. If I left something out, I'm sorry, but we'll know when we get there. There's just a lot of moving parts to this. Okay, let's get our heads around it. We'll get started. Okay, so I've cut the longest piece of sinew that I'm going to use for this project. And then, as we always say, and I showed you on the last time, I've done other projects, but you can see the sinew. This is artificial sinew. You can get it on Amazon, Crazy Crow, anywhere like that. And the crow beads, you want Czechoslovakian ones, by the way, because if you get the ones from India, they're going to be irregularly cut and nothing's going to fit the way they should, together. So Czechoslovakian cut glass crow beads. You can get these. I think you can get them on Amazon. Crazy Crow carries them. All of these metal beads, I got at Crazy Crow. The bone, I got at Crazy Crow. So this came from Fire Mound. No, Shipwreck Beads carries this. Shipwreck Beads also carries the bone and the crow beads and all that. So, and the Rocale beads, all that. All right. So what we're going to do is make a piece of thread out of the sinew. So remember, what do? We twist it, get it going, twist it between the thumbs like this. And you're going to make it into a thin piece of thread like, okay? All right, I've got a pretty long way to go on this. So I'm gonna finish this, and then I will be back and we'll start stringing. All right, so I've got all this down to a nice, neat little thread you can see right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is I am going to start, and I kind of do things unorthodox a lot of times. So I'm going to start in the middle with these little guys right here and work my way around. I'm going to put a clip here so that nothing rolls off on the other end. And this right here is optional. This is like a little 6mm piece of turquoise right there. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I just put it there because I thought it needed just a hint of color right there on the bottom. All right, so I'm going to start here. I'm going to start stringing the pieces. And you know what? Let me back up here just for a minute. I'm going to add one of these little guys. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. All right, and another little daisy right here. I'm putting on the next elk tooth. Now, if your sinew gets whoppy on you, where it gets to where it doesn't want to, go through the bead, just take your finger, twist it like that. And then if it still doesn't go through, just clip the end at an angle like that with some scissors and twist it, and it should start back up again. All right. I'm so excited about this, y'all. I'm just stoked. You know what? I didn't drill those little guys out. They may not go on there after all that. Oh, there it went. I did think it needed just a little hint of color down there. And the silver one, I'm gonna do one of those little tiny daisies. And these are so tiny that they're just like a hint of an accent. They're not a real major deal. Just a little hint of light. Okay. You can kind of see where we're going here. Let me get back in the camera. You can see the pattern there. See, the little daisy gives just a little hint of light. Okay. All right, we're going to do this next section. All right, the next section here is you're going to start with the little daisy guy right there. I'm moving these right here, so because those are going to be for the other strands. All right, so we're here. We're going to add one of the little daisies. There, a piece of bone, another daisy. The daisies also, because working with bone, a lot of times, you have larger holes. For the most part, you have larger holes. And sometimes that little daisy helps balance out that hole. You're adding the little turquoise glass bead, which is also in the earrings. I keep trying to twist my little guy there because he keeps getting wonky on me. Oh, these are tiny, tiny, tiny. All right, and then you're adding the next piece of bone, pulling it down. You can see right there. See just a little sliver of light in there. Now you can use also larger daisy beads, if you want to use a 6 millimeter or a 5 millimeter, uh, those would be fantastic as well in this. So there's no right or wrong there. Either one of them will work, but I happen to be using a 4 millimeter because I used that in the earrings too. So that was my reasoning. All right, so we're moving on down. You just have just tiny bits of light, just tiny bits of light, not a lot. Okay, we're almost up to our next section, which is going to be the little black again, like we had down here. Silver, a daisy, a black, a daisy. Silver. All right, and then we're just repeating this pattern right here up to here. So I'm going to go ahead and do this section right here, and I'm going to do this side so they're meeting, and we're going to be starting right here with this big 10 millimeter copper bead in these cones, and that's where we're going to meet up. Okay, so we've got this first strand strung up to where the cones go on, and you can see, isn't this beautiful? Oh my gosh. So the next strand, we're going to add a few more of this kind of stuff, and then we'll see if we're going to put the third strand on. We might not, we'll just see. But let's get started on strand number 2. All right, here we go on strand number 2. I've already laid it out here, and we're starting with the 3/4 inch bone, and going into the 1/2 inch the black, some more of the 3/4 inch with some copper, the 1/2 inch or inch bone, sorry, same pattern that was over here in the first strand. It's the same similar pattern, little mix up but similar. And then down here I've done all crow beads in a down here. There's 9 of them to make that curve with the turquoise. So let's get going. So we're going to start with a little daisy on this one, the 3/4 inch, another daisy. Those little daisies are tiny, tiny, tiny. All right, same pattern as we did on the other one when it comes to the black bone. Another little daisy there. Oops. Don't roll on me. Don't roll on me. All right. Another little daisy. Now we're going to incorporate this strand into the other strand in just a minute. That little daisy might get swallowed up on that hole. And because it's all going to come through this big 10 millimeter copper bead and the cone that's on the end. Pull it on down just a little bit, little daisy. We're going to make this curve down here, and then I'll go on and go ahead and go up the other side as soon as we make the curve, so you can kind of see what it looks like strung. I love doing this style of jewelry. It is absolutely one of my favorites to do. I guess because that's how I cut my teeth. But I like working with leather and all that fun stuff. It's just fun stuff. I learned from some of the best. I can tell you. Probably no one any of you would know, but boy, did I learn a lot as I was traveling. All right, we're almost down here to the curve. And we'll see how it goes right there. So the trick on these curves is to make sure you have the right amount of beads in there to make that soft turn. Little daisies. These are tiny. You could actually use a much, much bigger daisy right in here if you wanted to. 5 to 6 millimeter would be beautiful right through here actually. But I'm going to continue on with my 4 millimeter. Still trying to decide if I'm going to do that third strand or not. I'm debating still. I wish y'all could talk to me right now. Instead of after I've already posted the video. It'd be fun if we could interact as we speak. But I don't like to do live stuff very much. It's okay every now and then, but I do Facebook shows every now and then, once in a blue moon. But all right, so we're getting ready to make this curve with the number 5 bead. Ooh, this is pretty. Do 2 in there. Try not to make this segment too long. All right, let's see how it rolls here. I think that's going to work. Okay, you can see I've got the 1, 1, 1, 1, and then I've got 2 here because this is the center bead, and it makes that curve a little softer right there. All right, so I'm going to bead this half of the necklace that's left, but you can kind of see where we're going here, and it's going to be incorporated into the piece we just did. So let me finish this, you finish yours, and we'll meet back up. Okay, so we've got this one beaded, this centerpiece beaded, and what we're going to do now is we're going to incorporate this one into this one. So I did it on this side. You can see I pulled them all in together into the one last piece of bone that's on there. I may wind up taking out one of these little daisy spacers. I'll run it through this one without it and we'll see what it looks like. But anyway, that's where we're headed. I'll take the daisy spacer off of the one we just did. Okay. Let me move this down just a hair. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull this apart right here. You can see the little this little unit right there will stay intact. And I can run it through here too as well, but the holes in the little daisy spacers are so tiny that I'm not sure we can get another strand of sinew through there. So we're going to skip that and go right into the bone. And we'll see what it does since I took that one little spacer off. Oh, I didn't take that one off either. All right. Let's see where it goes. Might need the spacer. I think I like the spacer on it, so let me take that off. Anyway, and you get where we're going here. Let me run this guy out here. I'll put the spacer back on. And we'll run him back through. All right. Pull it down pretty tight where it all kind of bunches right there in a one little bunchy group, and it'll have a little bit of a kick out right there. That's what it's supposed to do. Okay, and I'm pulling that down. Clamp that off right there. All right. So that's where here's where we are. You can see the way it's laying, And the next thing we're going to do, I'm thinking I am going to add the third strand, but it's going to be very, very minimal. And it's probably going to be about right here, maybe on it. It's not going to be very long. And these are just design decisions that you make as you're going sometimes, because you'll be working on something and all of a sudden you'll go, I don't like it like that. I think it would look better the other way. And this is one of those things where I'm going to make the next strand really short right in here. And so let me set that up. Last strand is going to be really short. You can see right here, and it's going to be pretty much all of the turquoise beads and the white. Simple, easy peasy. All you're going to do is string it along with a few of these little daisy spacers. And I'm going to do, I may not have enough daisy spacers to do this top part. So I'm going to space them here first because I think that's important. And then we'll just go from there. It's not going to really matter anyway because it's going to be going into something else too. So we'll just play it by ear. How about that? All right, I'm just going to work on this little section first. So here we go. And I'll see what I've got left. And of course, you can do something creative too with this, where you can maybe do sets of 3. Actually, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do sets of 3 with the spacers. And then maybe a set of 3 without them. Yeah, give a little interest to it. Of course, too, I didn't count this out. I'm experimenting right now as I'm doing it. Gotta love it. Actually, I'm gonna do, yeah, I like the 3. Okay, so what I did was I had 1, 2, 3 with spacers, like that. Section with spacers, 3 beads, 4 spacers, and then I've got 3 beads without them. So now we're going to pick that pattern back up. Whoop, just not drop it. So we'll do 3 beads with the spacers. All right, that's a good idea. I just changed it in midstream, which you can too. Can't hardly hold on to these little guys. All right, then I'm gonna do the next pattern here of the just the 3 without it. There's my 3 with it. Next 3 without it. All right. So let's look at it and see what it's looking like. Oh yeah, I like it. It's very ha, your eye sees it, but it doesn't see it, and I love that. It's kind of like a hidden gem in there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and then I'll get back and we'll close this thing up. All right, we're getting to the end of this project. I know this was a long one. There's a lot of moving parts to this, so thank you for hanging with me on this one. Okay. All right. So this is where we're going. I just did this side so you could see where this project's going to wind up. Is this not stunning? Oh my goodness. So I went ahead and combined all 3 of these into one, brought it up through the copper bead, through the cone, and then this is the finish out. And yeah, let's just get started on this other side. Okay, so what I did was when I got here, I almost ran this through this piece right here, but I decided that it would look prettier if I took this off, ran it through one of the black beads, and then finished it off. So I'm going to take off that last piece of bone. And sometimes, you know, these design decisions just happen when you're working and you're going, oh, that would look better like this. So what I did was I combined all these. I just twisted all the sinew together, and yes, you're going to have a lot hanging off down here, so you can clip that right there if you want to. All right, and then I kind of made a bundle with it right there. I'm taking one of the big black crow beads. I'm going to slide them in like that, push it down, and just pull it, and it'll kind of gather up and make its own little gathering thing right there, as you can see. And then I twist those ends. Remember, we talked about twisting the ends, and I run them through this copper bead. Now, all of the beads, these crow beads, these copper beads, these silver beads like this, all have a pretty large hole on it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's a pretty large hole. So don't get a bead that has little tiny itty bitty holes, or you won't be able to run this many pieces of sinew through. Okay, and then you can see the hole on that one. The crow beads always have big holes, but just a heads up on that. Okay, and then I added the cone. So we're going to take the cone, run all three pieces through that. Why is it not going through? You twist it again. This little hole in this cone may not be quite what it needs to be. Oh, nope, I didn't catch it. Run them down here where they're a little more even. And this is what I was telling you about having to twist if you can't get it to slide through the hole. I may have to ream this little guy out. Open up his hole a little bit. That do it? Yes, I think it did. Nope. I thought I did it. Nope. Ah. All right. Hang on, guys. I'm going to ream this out just a little bigger. Okay, so we've got everything on. Lord, y'all. That cone right there. I had to go through 5 cones even after I reamed out the inside. I don't know what the deal was, but anyway, I've got them all on there, got everything lined up. We're going to add some of these. Don't remember how many I added, but we'll see here. 20 maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And see, it's fraying because I had to really work with that cone earlier, and you can see how I can't hardly get them to stay together now because they just got cray on me. But anyway, I'm just going to kind of try to keep them together as much as possible. 5, 6. Luckily, these pro beads are large hole. All right. And you have options down here. You can either put a clasp on, or you can just tie it off, and tie it off with a lighter. Either way, you get some more crow beads here. Pardon the noise. But anyway, I appreciate you guys staying with me on this project, because anytime you're doing something like this, there are just so many moving parts that I can't do it in 20 minutes. It just takes, when you're trying to explain what you're doing, especially if it's something that most people don't do normally, you just have to take time to explain it. And sometimes it can get a little long, but thank you for staying with me. And if you got any inspiration on this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Leave me some comments. Love to hear from you guys. It's a good thing. All right, I think I am minus 1 bead. All right, we'll slide that one on there. All right, perfect. Oh, wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, I think I am going to add 1 or 2 more beads to the end. Well, I've actually got 22, 20, 21 on each side. Kind of an odd number, isn't it? And I'm just going to tie this off. I'm not going to put a physical clasp on it. I'm just going to tie the end off here. And how we do that is you make sure everything is pushed down where it needs to be, but not too tight. So you want to kind of shake it, push it, because you don't want any loose threads right through here in this little section right here. So because that'll show because of where it is. Let me get my trusty lighter. And boy, this is going to be tricky because I've got 3 strands here. So I'm just tying a knot like I tie on my shoe. And I'm probably not going to be able to do this twice. So I'm just going to do it once and then we're going to burn it off. Come on, baby. You can do this. You can do this. Get in there. There it is right there. Okay. And then what I do is I run this right here back through here and this end back through here. And I burn it. And then I put a dot of glue on it right there. So I'm going to run these 2 pieces through so you don't have to watch me do that because it's pretty self-explanatory. So let me run that through and then we'll burn it off. All right, last thing. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Okay. So you can see right here, I've got the knot tied right in there. I was able to run the excess back about 3 to 4 beads right through here. I was stunned that I was able to do that, but I did. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the lighter. We're going to burn this to make it fuse together, and then we'll put a little spot of glue on it. Now remember, when you go to touch this, it will be hot. Don't think that it's not, because it is. So the beads will be hot too. So all right, so that's done. Take a little spot of, I usually use super glue on this, the gel, not the other one. I have to wipe that off, the residue off of there, but just a little tiny spot. Try really hard not to get it on the bead itself because it might change the color of it. So, and then you will push it like that together. Just push it real hard, let that dry. And then once it's dried, you are ready to go. So let's turn it here and see what kind of thing we got finished today. Oh my goodness, y'all. This was a major project. All of it stemmed by a pair of earrings. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm still here. I'm still here. All right. Let me get it back down here where you can kind of see it because I know my screen's not that big. All right, so it goes like that. Maybe the sideways will help to get it all in the picture. Let me look here. Yeah. Okay, so we got this. And here's the earring that goes with it that we did the other day. And look at that, guys. What a beautiful, beautiful pair. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can turn it just a hair. Oh my. This is stunning, stunning, stunning. Hopefully you can see that. If it's still on the screen, I think it is. Beautiful. Now, I don't know yet what color I'm going to do these little dots in here. Can't decide if I know exactly what color I'm going to do it. Probably, you're going to laugh, probably red. These little tiny dots that were right in here, I'm probably going to put a red dot right in the middle of all those. That gives a color break. Very, very subtle color break. So, okay, yay, we are done, and I'm excited. I hope you got excited too. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.